We were raised by a single mother. When I was about 4 years old, our house burned down. Insurance didn't cover paying off that mortgage. So fortunately, my mom was a nurse and she was able to work a ridiculous amount of hours, some 80 hours a week, and pay off that mortgage while still finding us another place to live. So I've been fortunate to have a lot of really good role models in my life. Obviously, my mom being at the top of that list.
Okay. When a is good, why rock the boat when my child support's low? Yes. I've run her as well. We know who it was filed by.
She always very passionately said, I'm going to be an attorney. And she'd look at me with dead set eyes, and I 100% believed her. And not only just becoming an attorney, but actually being a good attorney that is going to make a difference. Erin's passion sets the bar for everyone else in our office. So we're at home on a Saturday night, it's 8 o'clock, Erin's phone starts buzzing. It says a lot of our staff who's feverishly working to prepare for the cases that we're going to handle that next week. They share Erin's passion, and it's contagious, and it's been spreading through our firm.
All right, thanks for staying so late. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. I love doing family law. I feel like I really help people every day. I feel like we really make a difference for people, and I feel like families are benefited from the work we do. I started this firm with $2,500 in my bank account, and in the course of a year, I've helped over 200 families find a way to get through the turmoil that they're experiencing. I'm Erin Morse, and I'm here to help your family find your new normal.
Live from the law office of Erin Morse Studios in beautiful downtown Orlando, it's Live with Erin Morse, the only live Q&A where you can ask your legal questions and have them answered live on the air. And now, Erin Morse.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the live Q&A with attorney Erin Morse. My name is Patricio. I am the question guy. I don't want to say I'm the host, but before even anything, let me.
Hostess?
Am I the hostee? Host junior?
I don't know.
Co-host?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I like it. I like the co-host one. How you doing today, Erin?
Hey. I'm great. Super busy. Things are going good. We have another co-host here.
Oh, that's right.
We have Scooby-Doo. I have a dog, and his name is Scooby-Doo. He's right there.
I'm going to put the camera on Scooby real quick.
He just wants you to throw the ball. That's all he wants. There he is.
If he's going to give me the ball.
There he is. There he goes. He'll bring that ball right back 100 times.
There we go. So we did take a bit of a break these past 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, I needed it. It's the floodgates opened on everything happening, and it was just a level of chaos. I was like, I'm so tired. I focus and work really hard on my cases when I go to trial that, some days when I have a trial or long hearings, I'm mentally exhausted. I throw down, I throw into them. I do everything I can to make it all happen. And sometimes I'm like, brain dead. I really get to a point where I'm struggling to form words, and
there has been a change of you here in the office these past few days, because I know your calendar has just been booked up and down, and we have some procedures that we're going to be implementing here at the firm to basically help out, because you need a break every now and then.
Not even a break. It's overwhelming. It's a level of overwhelm. It's a level of, so much that it makes it so I can't do some of the more simple tasks that are around my office. Um, so, I'd gone to dinner with my husband after that long trial that I had, and I'm so happy with the way that trial went. We really helped a family out here. Um, but it I was so, I mentally exhausted.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what kind of mental anguish do you go through before, during, and after a trial?
So before a trial, I'm a high energy, very passionate person. That's who I am by nature.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me really good at this job, because I throw into that. It's who I am. I chose family law because I love solving this problem. I have a really big passion and a really strong desire to make sure that children are taken care of in some way, or that their family situation is good. I think children need both parents. So I don't typically advocate to take a child away from another parent. I want them to have both parents. So I find that interesting, and this is almost maniacal, but I find it really fun to go to court. I like it. It's interesting. I love the law. I nerd out on it very often. So before trial, I'm reviewing everything. I'm reviewing the docket. I really don't want any of those, technicalities to ever be something that I lose on, because I feel like I have a very good understanding. So I work really hard on looking at that. I try to review the case for, any discrepancies. I try to make sure that I'm taking a double check look at the docket for making sure everything's been filed. I'm preparing all my evidence. I'm making sure I have available everything. And sometimes, for the purpose of evidence, I will be a little bit over inclusive for um, evidence purposes, because if I find that I might need it, I want to make sure I had it available to me. So I'm doing a lot of, rehashing, reviewing, focusing, you know, preparing what questions are relevant here, and making sure that there isn't anything. And then I'm preparing my client, right? This is what you need to, this is how you answer a question. And, don't be uncomfortable with, if you feel like they're asking questions you think they should know, because again, it's a show and a presentation for the judge, right?
Hmm.
So you almost want to think of it like actors on a stage. What we are doing is we are acting within the rules of the theater, and we are making a presentation for the judge, and we have to follow the rules and the law, and the judge makes a lot of those decisions. So I try to make sure that I prepare my client to know that, answer only what's asked of you. Please don't go on these verbal tangents. It's not helpful, right? Because you may go on a road of where it's irrelevant. You may give information that wasn't asked for, or you may give information that, when responded to in that way, um, makes the judge have a different thought of you, right?
Okay.
I have one client in particular who is incredible. I really, he's such a good person and good father, and he's, fighting a battle that I'm going to keep vague, but his communication style is, because physically he looks intimidating, but he's not. He's
He's a big teddy bear.
oh my God, such a teddy bear, right? um, and But when he explains himself, he goes through this thing where he starts explaining how good and great of a person he is. They'll ask, "Hey, have you taken X, Y, and Z action? Did you do this thing that's a crazy violent claim, right?" And he goes, "No, I would never do that. I love my babies. I hold them in my arms. I kiss on them and love on them." But unfortunately, I keep, even when I'm talking to him, I keep having to redirect him and say, "No one asked you about that. No
Mhm.
one said you hug your babies. So why are you telling me that story?" And unfortunately, it comes off as this thing that's like
It comes like
thou
he's like
thou
reading his-
protesteth too much.
Gotcha.
Right? Sometimes if you're so over explaining something, it gets difficult for the judge to see for the facts that they are, because the judge isn't making a ruling on if you're a good father. There's no motion, there's no petition for designation of good father. So stop telling them that. Right? Am I saying that you being a good father isn't a conclusion that will be made? Yes. But you don't need to give the judge that conclusion. I'm a good father because I hug my children. The judge is going to be like, I don't care. The motion in front of us is, for example, this isn't what the motion is in front, to terminate your parental rights, right?
Hmm.
Or the motion here is for you to lose time sharing.
Do you feel that most people in that situation just want to plead their case in a sense to make themselves look like, no, I shouldn't be here. This is wrong.
Yeah, right. It comes from a good place. It's not because anything's wrong with them. It's just knowing what is needed of the judge, right? It's worth also mentioning that the judge isn't here. The judges don't have a personal connection to you. They need to have a neutral position, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to sound a little unkind, but they don't care, right? They're not there to make a determination if they like you, if you're a good person. It's the best interest of the minor child, right? So when you go, I can't believe my ex-wife said this. I delivered my babies. The judge is like, I'm never going to say this, but I imagine this is how I would feel. They don't act like this. Judges are good professionals,
Mhm.
but internally, at least this is how I feel. Who the fuck cares? Right?
Yeah.
We're talking about what's best for this child now. I need to make that decision.
Would that basically be like, what's the relevance in your statement at
Objection
that
to relevance, and you're exactly right. That's the objection. That's how we turn it back into the law.
point? Yeah, you picked the right one.
Yay.
Thank you, Law and Order.
So,
Wow, we actually have our first question just right off the bat. If you're ready.
well, I didn't answer, what we do during trial,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
do
yeah.
you want me to wait on that? You
No,
want me to
actually,
stop?
no. Let's keep going with that. We
Okay,
have
I
the
feel
question
like
here.
I didn't answer the question. Objection as non-responsive.
Mhm.
So I want to mention that you know we so when I'm preparing for trial, that's how I prepare. I try to tell my clients, right, this is why I'm directing you in this way. It might feel like you don't get to tell the judge everything, but we will do everything we can to pull out of you exactly the information that's relevant.
Mhm.
You should not answer the question that you wanted to answer, right? So that's what happens,
Ah.
is that clients, instead of answering the question that was asked, they answer the question they wanted to answer. So when opposing counsel is questioning you, just answer the question that they asked.
Mhm.
Don't answer what you want to answer, right? So that's the same thing, right? Don't if the question wasn't, are you a good dad and why? The question wasn't, what have you done to be a good dad? The question was, did you, bounce your child off of a trampoline and he fell and broke his head, right? That the question wasn't, you know, did you did you deliver your baby? So don't tell them that,
Mhm.
right? Not relevant to what's being asked here. So again, I have to try to get my client there. So again, I'm focusing on exactly what's relevant. I'm pulling the statute, I'm pulling the case law, and I'm
It's basically like what the judge needs to hear and not what he wants to hear.
right, because if you fail to prove up the things that are in the statute, right? I actually bring the statute when I go to court. I bring the statute and the factors, and I make sure that I've checked off all of those factors in the determination that the court needs to make. So that's how I make sure. So if I'm asking you a question that seems weird,
Mhm.
and this happened to me in my trial where I was talking to opposing client, and I asked a question to this opposing client, and this person went, "Well, it's in the file. You should know."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, at this point, the person who is receiving the information is the judge." "Well, it's in the file. She should know. I shouldn't have to answer." I said, "But I'm asking you the question, and you are required to answer my question unless there's an objection. So please answer."
Wow.
Like I had to argue, right? So you have to answer the question. Just answer the fucking question.
Stop being a dick. Answer the damn question.
Because you look like a dick in front of the judge now.
Yeah.
It was fine. I was fine with her doing it, right? Like no problem. It's no problem. So again, during trial, then another thing that comes up is what I'm not doing is my client might be sitting next to me. I ain't talking to you, right? I have to focus on what's happening here. I have to be objecting. I have to be listening to what opposing counsel says. I have to be listening to what the person who's being questioned says, and I have to listen to what the judge is telling us. So what I can't do is I can't talk to you. I can't, you know, answer your questions. I can't, don't make a face.
So is that the reason why when we do the trial notebooks, when it's in person, you put in a notepad and pens so your client can relay messages to you? Is that why?
That's exactly why is I give them red pens, right? So that I have blue pens
Hmm.
and they have red pens. So that if we were to, almost like instant messaging but handwritten, that's how it was in the day, we can see who wrote what,
Hmm.
right? And later on when I take my notes, because I take my notes after trial and I save them and I put them in, in securely in the file, we know what questions were asked. I do encourage my client that when I'm questioning the client to give me a ask her about this. Again, of course, I'm going to make the decision if that's relevant, appropriate, necessary, right? Um, I, but hand me that note. I'll ask that question. Okay. Because I can read fast
Hmm.
and I'll be able to read quicker than I can listen to you and tune out of that, right? Because I could quickly read what you just wrote and incorporate it. Now, when my client is testifying, I can't answer their questions and I can't respond and I can't direct them on what to do. Sometimes on occasion, I will say, you have to answer the question, you know, um, Mr. Kent, Superman's my client. So, that's kind of something that I've made some consideration of as well. But uh, you know, that's what I'm doing. So then after trial, I'm absolutely decompressing. I spent the whole day being, laser focused. I spent the whole day making sure that I did everything I needed to do. So um I'm usually very exhausted,
Mhm.
mentally and emotionally, right? Because I do pour my emotions into this it's important to me and
Well, I mean, it's basically a family's livelihood at this point.
it
I mean, it's your
is.
client's livelihood. Whether he or she's going to be able to spend quality time with them, make decisions on an everyday basis, scholastic, extracurricular. You are about to determine, in a sense, this child's future
Right.
because
Right.
because you never know if mom is
Well,
uh,
I don't make the determination. The court
the court
does,
does.
right?
Yeah.
So, you're right. And sometimes that's hard. And I want to do the best job I can. I'm presenting to a judge and I really try to present this in a way that I make clear I know this judge likes it this way.
Hmm.
I know this judge prefers X, Y, and Z. Or I know this judge, didn't in his or her career have experience in family law, which is okay. That doesn't make them a bad judge, but that I should provide more case law. Whereas I have some judges who I know had worked family law cases when they were in their career, and that there are certain things that I can argue or litigate, and that judge is going to go, we know. Right, everyone knows this. Counsel for the mother, counsel for the father, however they are referring to me, Attorney Morse. Attorney Morse is correct. You can do that. You can put that in an income withholding order. You can, have the insurance policy be in the minor child's name, as opposed to having it in your ex's name, right? So there are a couple of things that I'm like, it's pretty well known in family law that it's X, Y, and Z, and those judges will know. And I know that some other judges, I'll have to say, Your Honor, I feel confident that the law is recited as X, Y, and Z. And because this is a rebuttal response, I don't have the law in front of me. If you could give me the opportunity to provide a memorandum of law, counsel for, the mother can provide a memorandum of law themselves as well, if Your Honor would be willing to rule on the paper based on that, right? Knowing that I can produce the case law or the statute that supports my position, but that the judge may not have it in their back pocket, right? So there are tactics that you take with each judge to make sure that you get the results you need.
Now, do you see that there's a different tone in your voice when you go into another courtroom and come out?
Do you see that? You see me in court now.
I did. Like
I do?
I heard the tone in your
Oh, you
voice.
heard me. I got
heard it.
there,
You
right?
did.
Yeah,
You
I
did.
do. I do. I'm I have a deep voice for a woman in some ways. My voice is not high pitch. I was an alto when I did vocal
Oh,
in school.
really?
I was an alto. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He tested us all and he said, "You're not a soprano like most women." There were only 2 altos
Mm-hmm.
that were women, but he said, "You have a deeper voice for a woman." So, of course I try to speak with more authority, and I'm in a male dominated field, right? I get where you need to go.
Yeah.
Have your deeper voice, have your more professional base. I know that I have that voice of authority that I can come to. When I was working at the hospital as a secretary, I was only a secretary there in the emergency room. I had a couple of friends who used to say that I have the face that and the voice that has principal power, like the school principal. So I always thought that was a funny way to phrase what they
You got that Rooney voice.
yeah, that what they considered my voice to be, like principal power. I was like, is that authoritative or obnoxious and you run away from it, right? Woo, principal. Yeah.
Yeah, I was scared of my throughout from kindergarten till like sixth grade. I was scared shitless of my principal
Yeah.
because she just had like that towering feel to her
Mhm.
when she would come into the classroom. Like everyone just like silence. Oh well, of course it was a Catholic school, so we had to give that respect. But like it was scary.
Yeah.
It wasn't like until at high school when I remember at one point I actually talked back to my principal over some stupid stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I was in the wrong.
I talk back to everybody. It's not right. You shouldn't do it. It isn't.
I should have done it, but at that time, I'm playing fetch with Scooby on the side.
He's solving mysteries.
Oh yeah. So we do have some. You want to jump into it?
Sure, I'm ready. I'm ready.
So this one comes from Amy. It's quite a wow. That's the first time the question has taken up the entire screen.
Okay.
My daughter was wrongfully taken from me by child services while in the care. She has been abused by them. She will be 18 in a couple of months. I lost all my rights when the judge intimidated me, directly telling me that I caused fights. Could fight them, but I would never win. During that case, I was in recovery from major surgery that saved my life. I was manipulated into signing my rights off. I broke in the courthouse. What can I do, if anything? There is more information right after that one, and she says it's been 4 years, and she is now a street youth addicted to meth and being sex trafficked. Or was the last time I saw her 2 years ago? She was led into the lifestyle by her foster father. Wow.
I with those facts, of course, this is something that you'll need to talk about more. I feel like with the time frame of your daughter, I'm gonna speak practically and not legally. So from a practical standpoint, with the time frame of your daughter turning 18 in a few months, the court system doesn't work fast enough for you to get the results you need. Okay.
Especially in this epidemic.
Especially in this epidemic.
I mean, pandemic. I get the two confused.
Yeah. I don't know that I understand the difference enough to speak on it. So
EP. That's all I know.
So I think that for that particular case, I'm really sorry for what you went through. I'm happy to hear that you were able to get surgery and have recovery. First of all, that sounds like a lot of things that culminated all at the same time. And the system with Child Protective Services is imperfect, to put it kindly. But I think that there's just some unfortunate reality to the overwhelmed, overworked, and emotionally taxing nature of what Child Protective Services does. And I understand that the system is very broken. I just don't know how to fix it, right? The best thing that I can do is be a private attorney and do what I can for my clients, right? But with that being said, I feel like with your case, I mean, call DCF on the foster father. Keep reporting it and reporting it and reporting it. Be the relentless, never stop person that you can. Don't stop. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, and keep getting creative with what solutions you need. In a couple of months, when your daughter is 18, I would say that's when you try to take your opportunity to get her into your arms and get her into your care as best you can. and, bring her to counseling, go with her to counseling, do it together. Keep her with you, give her, purpose, rescue her, take her back, give her the things that she can do to have purpose in her life, to become educated, to become, have some life goals, to do what she can do best to get her out of that, right? Keep reporting it, keep bringing, if she's being sex trafficked, call the cops, get if she's being trafficked across state lines, get some federal agencies involved. Sex trafficking is a big problem right now. So my advice to you is really going to be more on the mom side, mother to mother. You're still a mother, even though all of that happened to you, and I'm sorry that it happened to you. But again, be relentless. And sometimes the difference between succeeding on these extraordinary circumstances that have life has given to you, and letting it continue to be, the continued unfortunate circumstances on behalf of your, sorry, Scooby's a silly dog, on behalf of your child, is going to be just how relentless you continue to be, right? So do not stop. Even if it seems hard, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard as you're going through it. It's going to be hard to get started. It's going to be hard to continue through. It's going to be hard midway through. And I am not here to tell you it's going to be easy or it's going to be easy to get through. I'm telling you it's worth it. I'm telling you it's worth your effort. I'm telling you, even if you fail, even if it doesn't work, it's still worth your effort, that you deserve it.
Sheila, if you want to go ahead and put that information in the comment section, I'd be more than happy to forward that over to
Absolutely.
to
Help
Amy.
us share that. Thank you for bringing that up, because that's something that I wish I could say that this doesn't come up, but it unfortunately does.
Yeah. No, up until I think it was last year. Oh, I forgot that I had the camera on Scooby.
Throw the ball for him.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna throw the ball for Scooby. Ready, Scoob? Ready? But no, it's what was it last year? Last year, I believe, late 2018. I had the privilege of doing a mock trial with Judge Wilfredo Martinez
Oh,
here in his courtroom.
that's so cool.
We took the law firm out there, and we had he had us there for like maybe 5-6 hours, and he was to the max on all rules and procedures. But afterwards, I was talking with him, and he was explaining to me that he wasn't going to be seeking re-election or running to keep the chair, because he was going to be retiring, going and working in D.C. with human trafficking. I didn't know that. I think, like I said, last year, 2018, Orlando was ranked 3rd in the nation for human trafficking.
It's bad. It's bad. I won't let my son take Scooby for a walk. He's too young.
You know, I remember the days where we, as a child, go outside, have a good time, but now it's just you don't know who's living next door. You don't know what's gonna happen if your loved one just goes down the block, and it's a scary time.
And I, when I drive to work, and bring my son into school, because I drive him into school, I drive by, another elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and I see kids who are walking, and they're walking by themselves, and I like get heartburn. I have this like inclination, like, let me just watch them walk in. And I get it. I can't save everybody, right? I can't be responsible for everyone's kids. I want to. I have a big complex. I want to save everybody. I want to help them all. Sometimes that's my downfall, is that I'm just so willing to help someone that I'll do it, to my own detriment. So I see them and I'm like, no, I get it.
Where is your mother?
And I'm probably overreacting, because I do believe, and my understanding of the statistics, which I try to keep an eye on, is that statistically it's not incredibly high that it's likely to happen. I understand we're 3rd in the country. But when it comes to that particular topic, any risk is too high for me. So maybe I'm over worried.
No, I remember when I was in high school, my grandfather would still walk me to the bus stop, and he would be across the street just standing there, and I'm like, I would look around, and no one's parents, no one's family members was walking them to the bus stop, and we're teenagers, but he was always there, making sure I got on that bus. And the second that bus pulled away, that's when he started to walk away. Now as an adult, I go back and think, I'm like, holy shit, he was basically.
Well, did you ever hear about that story about how Hispanic boys were being kidnapped in the 70s?
No.
Yeah, there was a whole area of the country where Hispanic boys that they were being targeted specifically. That's why your grandfather knew about that. I can guarantee it.
Holy
If
shit.
he's still alive, ask him. He heard about it.
No, he did.
It was
Sorry, I don't know why I said it like
you know,
that.
I watch a lot of like crime documentaries,
Mhm.
and they were being targeted.
Wow.
I bet it was when you were in second, third, and fourth grade.
No, because like I said, like,
Up
Well-
until you were probably 13 or 14.
well, no, because he would always drop me off. Once he moved in with us, he would drop me off at school every day and be there like BF early to be the first one as I'm walking down this walking out of the school. His car was always the first car there. There was I don't know what time he would get there, but I would presume probably like maybe 42 minutes to an hour before school let out.
So he could be first in line.
So he could be first in line. And now that I go back and think about it, and then what you're saying there, wow.
It really did happen, and there was too high of a number of them that it was a risk for him, and I get it.
Damn.
It makes perfect sense. I know. He cared. He watched the news and gave a shit about you.
You're literally making me tear up right now. Make me think back. Because like I said, up until
He
high
went,
school.
not my grandson. I know exactly what went through his mind.
Yeah, even
is why I'm good at my job.
through high school, yeah, he would walk me to the bus stop and just be across the street until I got on that bus. So, abuelito, gracias. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell him thank you. Up in heaven, he thought about you.
Thank you.
Did you think you were gonna cry today?
I really didn't. You made me cry.
I've done it before. But yeah, I get it. It's why.
Shit.
I look it up at one point.
I will.
There's quite a few documentaries on it, and it's incredibly heartbreaking.
Oh.
It's a heartbreaking reality, and some of the documentaries, I think rightfully so, place a focus around the fact that these children and this particular perpetrator wasn't caught quick enough because the boys who were being murdered weren't white, because they were boys of color, that it didn't gain the national headline traction necessary, and it didn't, like, people didn't care enough because they were Hispanic and not white. So your grandfather went, you're not going to be on the milk carton. You know, if nobody else wants to care about you, I will, right? Like, I'll be that person. We have tissues. Do you want a tissue?
I'm legit thinking I am reevaluating everything of my childhood with my grandfather. And yeah, he would argue with me when I wanted to walk somewhere by myself, when I wanted to ride
that's when they were getting picked up.
My bike down the street. I was only allowed to go up and down the street, not around the corner.
Same.
Like, yeah. Oh my God. Next question. Recently moved out of state. What are my rights as a parent? Father has been in and out of jail, rehabs, and detoxes. No court cases ever filed between us.
So naturally, I would need a few more facts to answer this question. But I'm going to make an assumption and answer the question based on that assumption. If the facts are different, I would like more information. But if the fact of this case is that the two of you were not married because you say father has been in and out of jail and you don't call him ex-husband or my ex, I imagine that this is a circumstance of paternity. If paternity has not been established and there is no court order related to time sharing, and he is not entitled to time sharing, your rights are all of them. You have all of the rights to your child. Okay. So that means that you can move out of state and it is okay. And basically those are your rights as far as moving out of state and needing something like that. There are other issues you may have. You may have issues with a passport, but that's a topic for another day. But at this point, as it relates to your child, even if he's on the birth certificate And even if you got a Department of Revenue child support order, that is not a parenting plan. That's different. Different set of circumstances. But even if you have just a child support order from the Department of Revenue, you still retain all of your parental rights as far as time sharing. And you don't need a petition for relocation, which you otherwise would if you have a court order. Under those circumstances, if the facts as I assumed them are correct.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for the question. And let's go to the next one. Where'd it go? Here we go.
I'll put that contact info up.
Oh, yeah. We
Like,
actually.
ask for after the question, I suppose.
Let's do it after the question. If I'm married and separated and we have no court order or parenting plan, can my wife take and hold our children at her whim?
Yes.
Because she's the mother, and at that point,
And you guys have equal rights, right? So if you want to deal with that, you need to file
what would they need to file?
a dissolution of marriage.
Ah, okay.
You need a dissolution of marriage, and you're going to need to deal with temporary matters and go through the motions and go through the efforts of that.
Yeah, so we got the information right there. Savannah Sanders, her information will be up there just for a little bit, and I will actually copy and paste that so we can have that.
Yeah.
You know what? And I want to contact this
Yeah.
this trauma therapist
Yeah.
to.
Thank you, Sheila. This was very, very kind of you to be, providing this information. Thank you. I'm a big fan of it. So
We actually have a question from the Facebook coming in right now. Hello, Erin. What is the best approach to try to lower the an above guidelines child support? Got a salary cut of 10%, and father does not support kids in any possible way. Shoes, clothes, uniforms, hair, co-pays, nothing.
the best approach to try and lower an above guidelines child support. So, Ms. Castillo, are you asking what's the best approach to reduce child support? Are you paying child support? Because in order to change child support, there needs to be a change in income that would adjust the child support by a certain percentage, right? So again, the change in circumstances, a substantial and unanticipated change in circumstances could be that daycare has changed, could be that healthcare costs have changed to enough of a degree that it will adjust the child support guidelines, and it can be that income has changed. Also, overnights and time sharing would precipitate a change for child support. So the best approach is to file a petition for modification if you meet those requirements. And if he pays nothing and he has a court order that he should be paying, maybe participating in school supplies and things like that, usually shoes and clothes don't really come up as much. That doesn't end up in a court order. But, co-pays, school supplies and uniforms often come up and end up in a court order. So if you have a court order on those things, get your receipts together, create a summary of those receipts, produce both the receipts and your summary so that you can come up with a total amount. And based on the percentage he was court ordered to pay, hold his butt in child support. You're paying, but it's above guidelines. So I imagine you came to an agreement that you would pay above guidelines. Either way, you could file a petition for modification to lower your child support. So, and if he's not paying for the things he's otherwise court ordered to participate in by the apportioned rate of his income or 50-50, whatever your final judgment says, again, that's another thing that could be an enforcement procedure. Any of those facts we can help you out with. And again, it's a petition for modification, and you'll have to do some discovery to get his income and your income and see if that can be changed.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the question, Ms. Castillo. Let me.
Recently, I had a case where both parties' income changed, and we had no way to know how much they changed. So we went through the motions filed, and we knew that he made a lot more money, right? It was very clear. We knew he told her he got a promotion, but he wouldn't disclose his income to her directly. So, yeah, you got it, Ms. Castillo. You got it. Well, you hold him in contempt for the things he was supposed to pay for, get your receipts together, and make a showing that you did all the things you were supposed to do, including, and this is a recommendation, trying to resolve it directly with him. And then you move for court action. You can hold him in contempt for non-payment of the things he was supposed to pay for. Again, receipts are imperative. Then, as far as changing the child support, petition for modification. I had a case where we filed a petition for modification because the party's income changed. And it was true that the income had changed substantially, but he got a substantial raise And unfortunately, so did she. So the income changed, but when we finally got his discovery and went to mediation, the child support didn't change.
Oh.
So we were like, and sometimes that happens, right?
Yeah.
Once you figure it out, because you have to go through the process of discovery before you can make an informed decision. My client was absolutely right that his income changed a lot. He got a lot of money, but she also got a raise, but she thought his raise may have been more. She just didn't know, but she was correct. But she got a raise at almost the same rate, so child support didn't change.
Gotcha.
Womp womp.
Dang.
We had to dismiss our cause of action. I actually prepared and filed the notice of voluntary dismissal during mediation.
Just like that.
Yeah, well, because you don't want to litigate in bad faith. You'll get in trouble for that. You'll get admonished from the court. My client was so fantastic, and God, I liked her so much. She's like somebody I want to hang out with and go out for a drink with. She was also from Massachusetts, so she had such a great personality, was such a good person, and there were a couple of things that the dad was doing that was a little nefarious in my opinion, and kind of a few things that were a little he's a jerk, right?
Yeah.
And but
And I'm sure you see a lot of jerks on the other side.
I see a lot of jerks. It happens, right? Family law is complicated and people are emotional when they're going through it. I try not to hold that against my client, but I do also try to take the approach of that is, I can't help you with that, or that's something that I think is, too petty to file. I try to guide my clients through that, because once you continue to throw things that are at a level of petty in the court, the judge sees it. The judge will pick it up. Also, the judge has 4,000 plus cases. If you want to, go to court on every little petty thing, the only people who win in that scenario are the attorneys, right? We get paid no matter what.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the question. The next one coming up is, my wife and I are getting a divorce. We were co-renting a house. She left June 4th and has not been back. Can I change the locks?
No, not if she's still on the lease, and not if it was the marital residence. If the two of you both move out to a new place and you don't give her a key to the new place because you're separated, that's fine. But you can't keep her from coming into that house that she rented or that she's on the lease of.
She still has rights at that point.
So move. You should also move if you really want, unless you have her agree in some way, right? You can change the locks. I'm okay with you changing the locks, right? Get that in a text message.
We do have a couple of questions, but I do want to do the little thing that we talked about earlier.
Well, let's see if we can shoot off a couple more questions. What are we at? Damn, I talked a lot, right?
Here we go. Next one is, my ex-husband is trying to send my kids to live with his mom in a different state for the school year. Can he do this?
No, not if you guys have a parenting plan. I imagine if he's your ex-husband, you dealt with it. In Florida, you have to deal with your child's issues, right? The children and custody, right? Which we call shared parental responsibility. The court won't grant you a divorce unless you've dealt with that, unless you've dealt with all of your assets, liabilities, and children. So I imagine you have a parenting plan. If you have a parenting plan, the answer is no. But if you got a divorce in another state where you do not have a parenting plan, you got some complicators. You'd probably have to file. I imagine that those states have a custody case, which end up being a different case than a divorce. I imagine those are two different causes of action. So make sure that you file for that. But in Florida, no. And grandparents don't have rights in Florida. So, of course, I have to make a lot of assumptions sometimes when I'm asking these questions. But no, you can't.
Thank you so much for the question. Next one is, my fiance was recently deported back to Mexico. I'm 6 months pregnant. Can I go after him for child support?
Yes.
Awesome.
Contact the Department of Revenue because they could do it for free with no cost to you. Also, if you do a civil cause of action, like to establish paternity, he gets to establish time sharing. He doesn't through the Department of Revenue. So that's up to you. But yes, you can seek child support and they can accomplish it across the borders. We have a case where my client had the Department of Revenue initiate a cause of action against her for child support where dad was in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, it's a good case. She's a good lady.
Next one is I've been overpaying by $100 for the past 5 years, but I also have been paying the child's mother directly. Am I screwed?
If you can't prove that
Payments were
you
made.
made those payments, if you don't have transfers to make those payments,
Mhm.
yep.
You're screwed, buddy.
But if you have proof of it, no, there's something we could do. We could file a motion to get you credit for child support payments, especially if there's arrears, right? So a motion to correct the arrears, something like that. We can work on that.
Thank you so much for the question. I'm going to bring this down to two more, and we're going to move into the segment.
Okay.
Can I take my son on the road working with me if he is homeschooled? My son has been living
Yeah.
with me for the past 4 years. We have no court orders in place. Can mother refuse?
This sounds like a paternity case. And if you haven't established your parental rights, yeah, she can.
She can.
You have no rights. You need a paternity case and you need to do it ASAP, especially if mom is fighting you on this, or ask her kindly come to a mutual agreement as to the paternity case, and then call me and we can get it filed and get an ultimate adjudication and deal with all those issues.
407-900-7451.
But if you're married and you don't have any court orders in place because maybe you got divorced in another state that doesn't deal with divorce and child custody simultaneously, then no, she can't refuse. But if this is a paternity action and you and mom were never married, yes, she can refuse, and she actually could bring the police to you and pick up the child and refuse to give you the child back, even if she hasn't seen the child in 4 years.
Holy wow.
Am I saying it's not defeatable? It's defeatable, right? We can do something,
You
but
just better have a good dog in the fight.
why don't you take action quickly? We have that one case with the details I will not disclose
Mm-hmm.
that his quick action made all the difference. The fact that he filed when he filed and drew that line in the sand gave him certain levels of proof that there were claims that mom was making that weren't quite accurate.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it took me a second.
Yeah, right? The Power Rangers.
What? Our last question of the night, and I think you'll be able to knock this one out pretty quick. I have visitation rights for 1 weekend per month that was done in Georgia. Kids live in Florida. I would like to modify for more time. Can this be done in Florida court?
Yes. So you will have first to register your case here, and then from there you have to modify here.
Modify here. Awesome. Thank you so much for all our participants and sending us the questions. If you have a question, you want to send it to Attorney Morse for our live Q&A, please do so you can send them via text, or you can send them with text message. The number is 407.
It looks like the straw is up your nose.
Oh no.
I get it. I interrupted you, but it was weird.
So yeah, right there, 407-900-7451. And we actually have on our website at more-firm.com, right there on our on the top page where it says live Q&A, you're able to drop your questions in. So if you weren't able to get it in through today, we can get you you can throw your question out there this weekend or tonight or whenever, and we'll get it for next week's Q&A.
Right. You can send your question in whenever you want, right? The texting service is just like a cell phone. You can text it at any time. If you text it, it's confidential, right? We don't know your name.
Correct.
We don't have any other information about you, just your question. We're not going to put your phone number on there. We're just going to answer the question like these other couple of questions. They came in through our texting. So if you text us or reach out to us through our website or email, again, you remain confidential. Of course, whatever your Facebook face or whatever that is, or however you're designated there, is something that obviously isn't as confidential. But of course, These are a lot of these things that are filed are public record. But again, texting, reaching out to us directly keeps your question confidential, and we're happy to answer them. Because a lot of people say that they just have a quick question. So the best way to do that is here. Ms. Castillo had another question. Do you advise to have an attorney on my side to lower child support? Is it something I can do myself? I that's a loaded question, right? Naturally, I think that attorneys get it done. We get it done right, and we can help you make determinations on, what parts of this that you had to strategize for it, right? So it about, coming to certain agreements and strategizing about certain other factors that go into the child support figures, tax designations, childcare. If it's a long distance parenting plan, how your travel expenses are going to get considered into child support, deviating from the guidelines if it's necessary for some other reason. So if you have some facts that have a bit more complexity, or you have a possibility that those things need to be addressed, imputing income to your significant other because they are willfully underemployed. If you have those type of things, yes, you need an attorney. Do I think that you will fail at lowering your child support if you do it your own? No, I'm not here to tell you that. But if you have other things that might come up, or your facts might trigger something that could have an impact in it, and it needs a little bit more of a more technical analysis, or you need to make sure you're arguing case law because it doesn't fall out in the statute that way, naturally, I think you need an attorney. But if it is simply your income got lowered and that's that, yeah, I think that you could accomplish that. But again, you don't, because the child support guidelines software, at least the software that I know about, because the ones on the internet are not accurate. I've seen them and had the opportunity to look at them, and maybe it isn't that they're completely inaccurate. It's that they don't take into consideration other factors, right? They can't impute income. They can't give you, the end dates and a couple of other things that are really pertinent and can really affect the amount of child support. Because as you know, $100 a month is a big difference, and there are certain little minor factors that are going to make a big difference on that. They're arguable to the court, but only if you raise them. So the software that we as attorneys use is available only to us attorneys. You can participate in the software, but you can't get access to this software until they confirm your identity and Florida bar number with the Florida bar. So that's what they kind of go through, that process of confirming that you're with the Florida bar. So you apply for it, and usually it takes them about 24 hours, right? They just look you up on the Florida bar, but they want your bar number, right? Because that's how it is, and that's how the program generates. But it does make tax considerations and how you file, and other child support guidelines programs don't do that. Our programs put in your gross income, and they will do the calculation of what your taxes should be. So your significant other, especially if they own a business, they can't say, oh, well, my net income is, $5,000 for the year because I run a business. This software sometimes can handle this a little bit different. So
Thank you.
It depends.
It depends. Thank you so much for the question, Ms. Castillo. We wish you the best with your situation. Let me get the music ready for this one. And it sucks that you don't have headphones, because it would be great for you to hear this part. I just had it.
Headphones feel weird on me. Over here.
So we are going to be doing a new segment called Family Law in the DC Universe. In regards to, there's so many stories with
I love superheroes,
comic book heroes, comic book villains, that things get overlooked, and there is actually some family law that can be applied to some of these stories. And right now, I wish you could hear it, because I have the Superman theme going from the movies from the 70s. That's the theme that's going, playing in the background right now. So if you can imagine, we are going to be talking about family law with Superman. And let me change the background for this, because
I love Henry Cavill. I do.
He's your favorite Superman?
He is come on. He is Superman. It's like a biopic.
I gotta say my favorite one, and I don't know how you're gonna feel about this. Dean Cain.
Oh, Dean Cain was pretty good. You got me there.
He
But Henry Cavill's much more handsome.
the dude from Superman Returns was just like I didn't feel him as Superman.
No, I felt like he's very attractive, right? But I felt like he didn't love it almost. Like he didn't feel like he was Superman. With Henry Cavill, I think he's like, I'm definitely this guy.
He demands like
Yeah.
he like I am Superman.
Yeah, and if you ever hear him like speak or do an interview, he doesn't sound anything like that. Like I
Really?
get it. I'm about to say like a superhero movie has great acting, but his acting is exceptional. He has a British accent.
I remember him on one of the last Mission Impossible movies.
Ah,
And
that mustache.
Oh my, yeah, okay. That came out wrong.
He just was very manly. He was
Very.
very cool. He was very macho. Very like
There was one
when
scene.
he did that thing where he
Yes.
like yeah.
That's literally what I was thinking about.
Something about that was just so amazing. Like he was, loading the bullets in the chamber. Like, welcome to the gun show. Yeah, I love it.
So we're all familiar with the story of Superman, born on planet Krypton. Kal-El, yes, was his parents decided to get him off the planet because it was about to explode or
yeah, they'd ruined it, right?
yeah, and they send Kal-El to planet Earth, and now he gets picked up by two humans, Martha and Jonathan Kent. There's some flaws in this whole story in regards to Jor-El's part, and I can't remember his the wife's name for the life of me.
She was like Crystal. She had something more normal name.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I'm gonna Google it right now.
Awesome. So right there, correct me if I'm wrong, is that reckless abandonment of a child?
Yes.
So
I would say that's reckless. Lara. Yeah, Martha Kent and Lara.
Okay.
Lara.
So with Superman being recklessly abandoned at that point, and then being sent off to a strange new world,
right?
What family law what law is being violated right there in that sense?
So, Sheila thinks Christopher Reeves. Now I respect it, but yeah, like, have you seen Henry Cavill? He's so handsome.
Sheila. I was actually having a conversation with her earlier today, and she made a comment, and I'm glad she didn't realize, because my comment back was, oh my God, LOL. Because she had said a comment in regards to a location and when she left from there. And it was a year that played very big relevance to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. I'll just leave it at that. But
it's so vague.
It's so vague because I don't want to go. I don't want to offend. Love you, Sheila. You're awesome. But yeah, Christopher Reeve. I mean, he was the second Superman.
Yeah, but he still is like the OG. Like he's the original, right?
Yeah.
He's I see. I respect your position, and I'm not here to say that I disagree. It's just that my feeling is that Henry Cavill is what's up. Yeah, I would say that them putting him in that ship is reckless abandonment, but in balancing it from the perspective of, this is a good one. Who was that Glee star that
you're asking the wrong person
that died? She recently passed away. Thank God we have the internet, right?
Yeah, we should have the internet. Yeah.
Naya Rivera.
Okay.
And of course I don't know exactly what happened, but the story was that she died of an accidental drowning, and that they were in, I want to say, a lake in California, a really big lake.
Yeah.
And they were on a boat, her and her 4-year-old son. Yeah. Her and her 4-year-old son were in a boat on a lake, and the boat made its way back somewhere without her. And what they believe happened was that was that they were in choppy water. They had kind of jumped out of the boat to go swimming,
Mm-hmm.
and she was in some precarious situation where she was in danger, and she used like the last bit of what she could do to like save her son and like throw him onto the boat.
Yeah.
Like when they found him on the boat, he was like laying down taking a nap. He probably was exhausted. Was out there for a few hours, but
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't know what happened to her, and then they found her, and she had an accidental drowning. So now, in that perspective, right? So I want to liken that to what happened with Superman,
Of
right?
course.
There, everyone was going to die. Maybe Naya Rivera knew she was going to die, and she was like, I just have to save my son,
Mhm.
right? And she did what she could to do, like the last thing that she could do was to save him. And I kind of would consider it in that way, the same way. It isn't like they sent him to Earth because they're like, this will be cool, right?
Mhm.
Just because it'll be fun. Just
Yeah.
the same way that Naya Rivera didn't say like, you're a boat captain at 4, right? Like you could sail or you can drive this boat. It was that she had no choice, and it was like, last ditch effort, right? It was a Hail Mary pass, right? It was a Hail Mary, save my child, help me, help me, God, like put I it's in your hands, right? Jesus,
Mhm.
take the wheel. So I would kind of consider it that way. So I don't think that if maybe for some reason they survived or something like that, I don't think that they would be found to have been reckless abandonment. Do I think it was reckless? Yes. Do I think I would make the same decision? I have no idea. I don't know what it would be like if I thought, you know,
Something was going to happen.
yeah. And I have an 8-year-old. I
Yeah.
assure you, I would do anything for him.
I was looking because I type in Glee death. That's all I put in there to find Naya Rivera, and then I came across an article right here that a total of 3 cast members from the show Glee have died in the past
Don't get into conspiracy theories.
in the past few years. So no, I'm not gonna I'm gonna get away from that one. But back to Superman at hand. Let me zoom out with Superman now arriving on planet Earth.
Okay.
And the ship crashing into the Kent's property. They just take the kid, and now they're raising him. Where's the flaw there?
So you can't just pick up a child and be like, you're mine now. I love you, right? It's not like a stray cat. There is a court system that you have to go through, and some other.
Because I'm sure when they had to what is it? Oh shoot! I just had a epiphany right now. So when they had to
Yeah, they do. They just keep him. They're like, this is mine now.
Well, no.
Like finding a penny.
Well, I'm sure Smallville wouldn't. I don't know their rules and regulations, but I'm sure when you're enrolling a child into school, you have to show proof of vaccinations. You have to show proof of.
I don't know that I'm going to be honest. I don't know what happened exactly in the comic books, and I know that
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, we're keeping this as vague as possible.
your true fans know the comic books inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
I like Superman because I like looking at him. This is a visual thing, right? I like the storyline. I find it interesting, of course,
Yeah.
but I didn't read the comic books because I don't find comics physically attractive. I find Henry Cavill physically attractive. But I like the tale of Superman. I find it very interesting. I like the logo or whatever. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't read the comic books. I really only consumed like the cinematic versions.
Yeah,
right?
and the cinematic version is pretty basic and
a lot more vague, right?
a lot
Yeah.
more vague.
So I don't know did you read the comics? I don't know what happened in the comics. Does
I was
anybody
more-
know what happened, or was it ever provided an explanation for what happened between I found a baby and them having the legal ability to enroll him in school and get him to the doctors or anything like that? I don't know what that is. I know how they explained it in Smallville.
Well, let's apply
I
Smallville.
can watch that. I like that actor too.
Oh God, I can't remember his name.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
His name is Superman.
But no, the one thing that like just got me right now, Superman could have never gotten vaccinated.
Right. So maybe it was a non-issue. They never had to take him in Smallville.
Yeah, in Smallville.
They never had to take him to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He got sick like one time, I think, in the series. And, they explained it away in some other way. But she said, I never had to take you to the doctor. Like, because as you know, putting the
Needle.
would break.
Exactly.
Remember, they needed to take his blood for some reason.
And they couldn't. It was just
He had to
impossible.
get his friend to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or I think they had to like put kryptonite near him so that his skin could be penetrated and they could take the blood.
I think you're going Smallville, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
So, well, in Smallville, what happens is there's some connection to Lex Luthor's dad.
Hmm. Lyle Luthor.
I almost said Len. Lyle. Len and Lex. I don't know. They do that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Lyle Luthor. And, he's this billionaire and he creates an adoption agency that does one adoption and it's the Kent's baby. And then the company closes. Right?
Conspiracy.
So that's right. Small town secrets, right? In Smallville. You see what they did there?
We were double clicking.
Yeah. You see what they did there?
I see what you did there.
So yeah, they secure that option. And the Kents were honest with Lyle Luthor about what happened, right? He landed here and we found him roaming and whatever. We found him in Smallville. He's like a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
In most of the other iterations of
movies.
Superman, of movies and everywhere else, he's an infant,
Yeah.
right? So, but in this, he's like a toddler. It's a real cute toddler in the show. You should watch the show. And they like fix an adoption so that he has legitimate paperwork. So that in that show, he would have been perfectly fine to see any doctor, go to school, whatever. But also, it's important to know I never showed my son's school his birth certificate.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Maybe
I show them vaccination paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, in regards to birth certificate, there's
no one's ever been like, "Do you have his birth certificate?" I think there's very limited situations. I think I needed it for a passport.
Or if you're running for president.
He's not running for president yet. Soon. But yeah, they schools and everything, they didn't question me.
So fast forward, and we're going to take another turn in the world of Superman. There was a film that came out a few years ago, and I think it was Superman Returns.
Oh yeah.
And this is the one that you brought up. So
yeah.
Throw the argument, and then throw like the legalities behind it. So
in this particular Superman Returns, with the Superman that I don't even remember his name, but he was the not as good Superman.
Mm-hmm.
He returns.
Yeah.
Superman Returns.
Where you been, Superman?
Yeah, he returns, and Lois Lane had a relationship. They had.
Mm-hmm.
They engaged in a relationship that involved coitus. So, and they were not married. So Superman returns, and Lois Lane has a fiance and a child. How old is the child in this?
He was like maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Grade school, right?
Yeah, he could talk.
Yeah, real cool kid, right? Real cool. He really was. And somehow the villainous Lex Luthor ends up with
played by Kevin Spacey in that one.
He was a good Lex Luthor.
He was.
The Lex Luthor from Smallville was pretty good too.
Yes. Rosenbaum. I know. I remember the last name.
He's.
I feel
like he's too good of an actor to have been in that show.
He was. However, there was a film he did before he did, or I think it came out while he was doing Smallville.
Yeah.
Where it was sorority boys, and he basically dressed up like a sorority girl to infiltrate the sorority with two other bad actors. But
that sounds like a bad movie.
It was a horrible movie, and his like he would amplify his like talking like this to make it seem like he was an actual woman.
Oh no!
And of course, Hollywood, the actors, you buy it, but it was just like it was a horrible movie. And once I saw that, I'm like, okay, yeah.
He's a decent actor.
He's a
though,
decent actor, but
I would say.
I was not impressed with his female acting.
I'd let that. Let's hide that at the bottom of his IMDb. So in that movie, again, they have a relationship. He leaves for whatever reason that he leaves. You'll have to watch the movie for that factoid. And he returns. Somehow, Lois Lane, and you know how in most of the movies he has this like, not in Smallville, right? But in most of the movies, he has this, connection to Lois Lane that whenever she's in trouble, it's as though he has a premonition.
Yeah.
You want me to throw the ball, Scooby? Where's your ball? Get your ball. And he learns that she's in danger on this ship.
Wow,
right?
he listened.
I know. He's a good dog. He's a good dog. And she and the child, and at some point her fiance, all end up on this boat.
Mm-hmm.
And during the course of this, danger scene, right? The height of the scene, the climax of the movie, they somehow figure out that this child is very strong and very exceptional in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the other features about Superman, which is probably why he's one of my favorites, is that he's always portrayed as incredibly intelligent, right? And intelligent in a way that he's not pretentious about it, which it's because he's perfect. But this child's like very strong and very exceptional, and her fiance also has, dark hair, but is light skinned and light eyes, similar to Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of can't tell. Lois Lane knew what she was doing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She was like, "This is why you're my fiance." So, and they figure out that this 8-year-old child, is Superman's, and they just make it by assumption, right? By like, oh, he looks like you. Why? The fiance, who's really kind of cool about it, he's like, who's this child's father?
No, it was Lex who asked that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because like he looked at it, he's like, who is this child's father?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think doesn't eventually the fiance ask?
He
you?
probably does. Yeah.
Okay. I think I can. I might be remembering wrong, and I'll accept that. But I remember him also being like, is he mine?
Mm-hmm.
And Lois really doesn't want to tell anybody, because I think the way that they portray it in this movie, and again, anyone is welcome to correct me if I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but they basically figure out that it's Superman's, but I think she sleeps with Superman, but he's like as Superman, not as Clark Kent.
Oh, so she knew what she was doing.
Right. And I think
Yeah.
she knew that this wasn't going to be the dad who stays involved in his life, because this is flighty ass Superman, right?
Mhm.
Which, to everybody who doesn't know him, he's flighty, right? He's flighty kind of in Smallville to other people, right? Because he just disappears at
Yeah.
times, right? And he doesn't provide an explanation. And I love how throughout that series, he just doesn't feel the need to. He's like, they're like, where did you go? And he's,
Oh,
I wasn't there.
yeah, don't worry about it.
Not your business. I'm like, yeah, that's right. It ain't your business. I'm saving the world. Mind your business, right? I love it, right? And I almost equate that to how I feel about, my cases, right? They're confidential.
Mhm.
Well, what were you doing? And what were you guys talking about? None of your business.
Mhm.
Like, I'm saving the world, right? Not really. I'm practicing family law. But, in that case, so let's get over to the legalities, right? So that child, they didn't get married. Now, potentially had she married the fiance and they kind of affirmed his paternity, the fiance, not Superman, would have had a rebuttable presumption that that was his child in the event of a divorce.
Oh,
Right? Genetics don't really matter. They do matter, but you have to assert it. You have to ask for the genetic test. They don't happen automatically. The court isn't like, only after confirmation of DNA are you the legal father, right? Because if you want to step up and be a legal father and she says you're the legal father, Florida says that's fantastic. This child has two parents willing, ready, and able to care for them. We want that. we don't care about your genetic tie, right? Which makes sense, even before this was a fact, but it makes sense for the purpose of children having that cohesive home. And it makes sense now from the perspective of adoptions. And it makes sense now from the perspective of in vitro fertilization, right?
Oh,
And so if you think about it from that, like science evolved, but the law theoretically evolved with it, right? That if you're in vitro fertilization or you got a, sperm donation or whatever, however that baby came about, born to the marriage is born to the marriage. And if the two of you want to step up and have this conversation, I have many paternity actions, most of them, that I do not file or execute any DNA tests. It doesn't happen, right? And the court is never like, Mr. Kent, did you get a DNA test? Like, are you sure? What?
go ahead. Try to take my blood. Take my blood.
Right. They're not like, if you go to, down the hall to courtroom L, you can get your DNA test. Like, they don't, it doesn't matter. Right. So if two parents are stepping up and he goes, I'm the father and we want to establish paternity. She goes, yeah, he's the father. We did and the baby was made.
Mhm.
Right. It's fine. They accept it.
I love your interpretation of that.
It just the court's like, ordered. Dad,
Yeah.
Mom, have a nice day.
Yeah.
Right? That you want to agree to a parenting plan, or you guys both agree that he's the father. That's not what's in controversy. Now, either party could raise the fact that this is not biologically his child
Hmm.
and get a DNA test to confirm it, but it needs to be raised, right?
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't come out.
So my question is, let's say, for example, Lois gives birth and she's not married to the fiance. She's not married to Superman. Fiance thinks that's his kid.
Mhm.
Superman comes in the picture in real
Signs
life.
the birth certificate. I don't know if he did. That's not in the movie,
Hmm.
but we're gonna add this fact.
Let's add that fact. And Superman basically wants to establish paternity that is his child.
Mhm.
If what happens in the situation where two men want to be the father?
So, when there's an intact marriage, there is a rebuttable presumption
Hmm.
that minor child is the child of the father,
Okay.
the child of the husband. Okay. Now, the husband could challenge it and de-establish his paternity. And if biological father were to file a paternity action, the case law isn't completely settled on this issue. Okay. There is new case law that says if the child has had a close continuing relationship, that it follows the best interest of the minor child for the father with whom the child has lived and grown up with.
Okay. Which at this point would be the fiance.
Right. So let me back out of that. The case law, this is why the case law is unsettled. There is one such set of facts, and there's a case where mom left her husband, enters into a relationship with a man. The man either doesn't know she's married, believes she's divorced. I'm not clear on that fact. I just don't have it handy.
Okay.
But they enter into a relationship, live together, have the baby. Baby grows up in the household for most of the time with both parents. This dad is involved. He's a part of their life. He thinks nothing of the fact that they had a baby out of wedlock. He doesn't know she's married or didn't realize or thought she was divorced or thought legally separate. I don't know.
Hmm.
Some way didn't confirm her divorce, which isn't that easy to confirm, by the way. It is not.
It's not.
There's no centralized filing system of it.
Oh, okay.
You can't Google, is so-and-so divorced? You have to know the county.
Oh,
Anyway, that's a
yeah,
topic for another day.
that's
Topic for another day. Bigamy is probably more abound than you know. So, and he has a child. I want to say the child gets to 6. Again, don't quote me on that, but the child knows this person. Scooby, you're loud. This child knows this person as his dad. Well, mom, they break up, and as family law goes, they, she goes, oh yeah, I'm married. It's his child. Gets back with the husband. I don't know if she's actually back with the husband or if this is like for show because she wants to win her paternity case, right?
Yeah.
And then later dad will just disappear. Later husband may just disappear, or if they actually got back together. But they fought it out, and it went all the way to the appeals court and made case law about the fact that because the standing law was during an intact marriage, the husband is the father, and the biological father cannot come in and swoop in and take that child.
Wow.
But if he wanted to deestablish, he could.
The husband.
The husband.
Okay.
Okay. The husband could get a DNA test and deestablish.
So in this sense, let's say, married, child born, biological father comes into the picture, but the paternity is established with the husband and not the father.
Biological father is shit out of luck in most cases.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, except for this one case in particular.
Yeah.
That came forward. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court because the ruling found that it was in the best interest of this child, right? So fact specific. It was in the best interest of this child to have a relationship with his biological father because that's that's the only father that he had known.
Mm-hmm.
So it was because of the best interest of this child that it was able to fly. But the law still stands overall.
Yeah.
That the husband of the wife is the biological father. We had one of these cases.
I just kind of like.
But she had a whole different set of facts. We won that one.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of cleaning up to do.
But oh my goodness.
So okay, back to this Superman story. Right?
Yes,
They didn't get married. Remember, fiance.
Mm-hmm.
So what Superman needs to do right now is file his paternity action. Call me. No, but Superman could
establish paternity and swoop in, save the day.
Right. I had read an online article somewhere about how someone was like calling him a deadbeat for this movie, a deadbeat dad,
because he just abandoned the child.
He didn't know. He didn't know she had a child and that it was his. I remember when he returned to the Daily Planet,
Mm-hmm.
and he saw that she had a child and a fiance. He was heartbroken because he thought they were. It was fiance's child.
Yeah.
Right.
He thought that he was just going to come back. Everything was going to go back to normal. Lois going to fall head over heels for him.
Well, of course she did.
Yeah.
Superman. He was right. But yeah, they kind of figure out that that's
not the.
Yeah, but what a mind fuck for that child. So let's think about the child, which I feel like I say all the time, and I say it in court a lot. I do this in court a lot. I'm like, I understand that usually my opponent argued a lot about what they want.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what our court asks for.
I think if I was the child, if I was the child in this picture, my first thought would be like, "You're telling me that I might be Superman's child? Like that's the only thing. Like, forget that guy. You tell me that Superman might be my dad? Let's find out. Let's find out right now.
Shoot me."
Throw me off the building, Mom. Go ahead. Let's see what happens.
Can I fly? Can I fly? Can I fly? Do you think I can fly, Dad? Dad? Can I call you Dad? Right? I think, yeah, that's kind of my thought on that. It would be, so cool for a child to figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be able to establish paternity. I always thought that was an interesting iteration. Is that the only iteration where he has a child with Lois?
I'm sure in the expanded universe of the comic book world, because there's so many renditions of Superman itself where I'm sure he probably had bigamy. Maybe he had a little something with the planet next to Krypton or something like that. You never know.
He would never.
Stop defending Henry.
He is morally impenetrable.
Oh shit.
He's a good man, and had he known that was his child, he'd have been there.
That's your legal opinion?
Yes. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Oh man, but Erin Morse, thank you so much for sitting here with us. Well, no, thank you for just taking the time. Oh, look at Scooby.
Scooby. Hi, Scooby.
He's a good dog. But yeah, if you have any questions, if you would like to schedule a consultation with Attorney Morse, let me put this up right there, 407-900-7451, or go to morse-firm.com to schedule your consultation today. We handle divorce, we handle modification, child support, alimony, prenup.
We handle dogs.
It picked him. I was like, but yeah, go to our website, morse-firm.com. Give us a call, 407-900-7451. You can also send a text message to that number as well. And if you have any questions for our Q&A,
If you have any questions for Scooby, be sure to forward those over.
But as always, thank you so much, and everyone have a great night.
Thank you.